Hi everybody, and welcome back to The Good, the Bad, and the Anxious. I'm Rebecca, and I am here to document my journey to bariatric surgery and beyond. I am getting the vertical sleeve gastrectomy on January 16th, 2021 at Blossom Bariatrics in Las Vegas. And you'll see down below in the comments are my stats, as well as links to anything I think is important, including my Instagram. And we are currently 1 week into the pre-op diet and 1 week from surgery. So this video is about just that. This video is about the pre-op diet. Now, if you've been following me, I've talked about it before, but bear with me. Let me recap this for those who, maybe haven't been following me. So at Blossom Bariatrics, we are asked to do a 14-day liver shrinking diet before surgery. And this diet consists of 2 protein shakes, kind of for breakfast and lunch, that consist of at least 30 grams of protein or less, or more, along with one meal that has 4 to 5 ounces of protein, and then as much leafy green vegetables as I can eat. Basically that part is just to fill you up. And we're allowed things like pickles or sugar-free popsicles if we want, and then we're also asked to drink at least 64 ounces of liquid water or calorie-free beverage that is also caffeine-free and sugar-free. And carbonation-free. No carbonation, which sucks. But we're asked to drink 64 ounces of liquid on the diet as well. So that might not seem that bad, but the diet is actually about 1,000 calories or less. I think on my highest days I ate about 1,000 calories, and that was like two days this week. Otherwise, the rest of the time I was between 650 and like 850 for calories. So that's tough because the average person actually eats about 2,000 calories a day, give or take a little bit depending on the day. So I'm actually cutting my calorie intake in half. And let's be honest, I probably ate closer to between 2,000 and 3,000 calories a day prior to surgery or prior to pre-op diet. And so I'm actually cutting my food intake by 3/4. So it's been tough. Maybe not 3/4, maybe like 1/3. Whatever. I can't math. Never ask me to math. Point is, I'm cutting my food intake by a lot, and it sucks, and the hunger is real. And so far, this journey has been this week. I say journey because it has been a journey, guys. It has been challenging both physically and mentally. I want to say, like, I was preparing myself for this to be so much harder physically than, than I anticipated, but I also it ended up being way more mentally challenging than I expected. So yeah. So anyways, let's get into this. Story time. Right before on Friday night before pre-op diet started last Saturday. Friday night, I had been like all day, thinking about this pre-op diet, thinking about going into it and thinking like, okay, so is this, like, are we sure that I want to do this? Is this really like for sure what I want to do? And, everybody, it's like marriage. Everybody has cold feet before they walk into a life-altering, lifelong decision, right? Everyone's gonna have cold feet. So I had cold feet, and I was sitting there thinking, is this really what I want to do? And I was kind of thinking, like, the day before, I'll tell you that in a minute. So I was kind of thinking, like, I needed a sign from the universe to tell me, like, yes, Rebecca, this is exactly what you need to do. And so I was actually showering, and I slipped and I fell in the shower. I did a face plant right here into the wall, and then I just kind of slipped down and landed on my right hip and my right knee. And when you're as big as me, falling is no joke. And the strange thing is I had actually fallen the day before. I didn't calculate my steps properly, and I tripped on something and face planted. And yeah, so when you fall, like, it's not a joke. You can hurt yourself. And surprisingly, both times I didn't really hurt myself. I scraped my leg up and poured hot coffee on myself the first time, and then the second time slipping in the shower. I mean, it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying to do a face plant in the shower. But I was actually covered in soap at the time, so I just kind of slid around like this. But I got away with just a big bruise on my hip, and it could have been so much worse. So that kind of like solidified to me that this is the right path. As hard as it is, as challenging as it is, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. It is the right thing for me, absolutely. And the larger you get to, the more uncoordinated you become. Like, your body just doesn't do what you want it to do, and your center of balance is all off. It's bad. There are multiple times when I tried to play indoor soccer a couple years ago when I was still I was like 325, I think, at the time. And I would repeatedly just trip over my own feet and face plant into the ground. Like, I face planted in the wall a couple times. I tripped over my feet and fell when the ball was nowhere near me. Like, coordination is a real challenge, the bigger you get. So it just kind of was, you know, a wake-up call of like, yeah, no duh, you need this. So yeah, that was kind of how I went into the week of like thinking, I gotta do this. There's no other option. So yeah, so now how did I do on the diet? Day one was hard. You know, it was a weekend day. I don't really do so well on weekend days where there's not a lot of structure, and I just kind of have free reign to do what I want and eat whenever I want. And so that was, and I also tend to eat a little bit more on the weekends too. So that was a struggle. Day two was all right. Day three was all right because that was my first day back at work. So I had a lot of structure around me, and I was able to eat my breakfast later in the day, and I was busy. I don't really notice if I'm hungry. I do better just with routine around me in general. And day four was all right. I had a persistent headache, but I was all right. Day five. Like, day five was rough. That was the worst that I've felt in a long time, like possibly years. Maybe like a year and some change. Yeah, it was bad. My body decided to do a couple different things, and I'm sorry, TMI, for if any male is watching this. My body decided to have a period, which it shouldn't have. It was not the correct time. It decided that I was gonna have a migraine, and I had this migraine that like went up my neck and into my head and into my jaw and down here, and it felt like my head was in a vice grip and somebody was just like tightening it down, and I couldn't think straight. I couldn't put two words together, barely. I did go to work. I worked for 2 hours and then I left because I was like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And then I just laid on the couch the rest of the day because I just felt like garbage. So it was the worst day, absolutely. And then the next day, day 6, was rough in the morning. I still felt like garbage for a couple hours in the morning, but then it got better, and the afternoon I felt much better. And then day 7 yesterday I was like almost back to normal. Like, I felt really good. And today, actually, I felt really good. I mean, I've got a headache a little bit, and my body hurts. That's something they don't really tell you about, is that your muscles ache. It's weird, but my muscles ache all over. And yeah, so that's what the week is kind of like. That's how it's felt. That's what's happened. The hunger is constant hunger. And for me, hunger often presents as nausea. So that's not been fun. I've been nauseous a lot this week. struggling. There's been times where I've barely wanted to eat, barely wanted to drink the shakes. The shakes are great, like they taste fine, but like my desire for them is just in the, you know, in the toilet. But my body has adapted pretty quickly, but it is a really strange sensation to like feel not just a little bit of hunger, not just like, oh yeah, I should probably eat, but like my body is like, you can hear it from across the room. My body's growling and it's hungry and I'm nauseous and I want to puke and I'm like, I really should eat something, but you can't. You have to like deny your body the food that it's craving, and that's just, I feel so wrong. But I did it. I did it. I struggled mentally this week. I longed for flavor. I longed to look forward to food again. I miss diet soda. It's really tough seeing people around me just like eating whatever they want. And I'm over here like sipping on a bland ass protein shake. Wasn't fun. And I also like just kind of thought about food and my relationship with it, and realized that like I was using food as something to look forward to, and it was also just kind of a part of like everything I did. So much of our culture is based around food. And I realized just like how much time I spent thinking about food, and I still spent just as much time thinking about food this time. But the difference is this time I was thinking about, okay, think about the food that you could eat in like a month. Don't think about the fact that you can't eat it right now and you're not going to be able to eat it for the next like 3.5 weeks. Like, just think about the food that you can eat once you can eat again. But it was really tough because I'm a food addict. And I'm kind of been realizing how similar this process, this week especially, was to quitting smoking. I quit smoking 7 years ago now, and I quit vaping 6 years ago now. And this week has been very similar to quitting smoking. You have to relearn how to do activities that you used to always do with a cigarette in your mouth without one. Like, that's what I had to do. So I had to relearn how to drive, relearn how to go out and take a break outside, relearn how to relax, you know, like I had to relearn how to do activities that I always had a cigarette in my hand. And it's the same. I have to relearn how to do activities that I still want to do and like to do, but I have to learn to do them without food. So that would include, you know, any kind of leisure activity basically, but especially, you know, driving home and not stopping to get a snack or not stopping to get myself a treat or whatever it is. Watching TV without a snack is real hard. And you know, how to just kind of get through my day. Like, I get off work and I used to get off work and be excited for dinner, and now I have to just get off work and just be like, okay, I'm gonna eat some like chicken and broccoli when I get home. It's not exciting. It's boring. But that's what I have to do. I have to relearn how to do all of it. And it was the same thing when I quit smoking. It's the same process. And it's completely a mental game. So how did it actually go? This week, I lost 10.3 pounds in 7 days, which is nuts. And I keep thinking that that weight is gone for good. Like, I don't ever have to see those numbers on the scale again. I just get to keep going down, and that's a crazy feeling. And it was actually funny because I got on the scale this morning, and so I started this week out at 363, and I got on the scale and it said 353, and my brain went, oh darn, that's weird. How did I, like 3 days ago I was 357, how did I regain all that weight? And I got off the scale and I just kind of like looked at my phone, because my phone syncs up to my scale wirelessly. And I'm looking at it and I see the little green, it says in green that I lost 10.3 pounds. And I just went, hold on. That says 353. And like my brain had to like take a few minutes to comprehend the 5 and not the 6. And I got on the scale again and was like, holy shit, that's 353. I lost 10 pounds. And that usually takes me like at minimum a month to lose. And I just lost that in a week. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, then why don't you do this kind of diet all the time and you'll drop 10 pounds a week, you know, all the time? Well, this diet's not sustainable. Like, I could do this for a couple weeks, max a month, before I would, like, want to tear someone's fucking face off. Like, this is not sustainable. This would lead to me binging at some point. Now, the difference is once I have surgery and half my stomach is gone and I no longer really feel hunger and, you know, this much food fills me up, then this level of caloric intake is sustainable. It's not sustainable when your stomach is this big and I'm literally filling this much of it. Like, it's not sustainable. But it's pretty great. It's pretty great to see myself lose weight. And I didn't even trust the scale. I got on it a second time to have to like double check. And that's like, yeah, it's nuts. Maybe it doesn't sound like that to anybody else, but I've been trying to lose weight for so long and I've mistrusted the scale. And the scale has been such a source of, it's been a trigger for me. It's been such a source of just like pain that it was kind of crazy to get on the scale and see like actual weight loss and actual good news. So that was kind of crazy. So that's how my week went. It has been long. It's felt like it has been a year, but it's only been a week. And I'm exhausted. I am so exhausted. Have not slept well all week long. Nightmares. It's bad. But there's only one more week left, and then I can finally put the surgery behind me, which is the thing I'm the most terrified of, frankly, and actually get like moving forward with the rest of my life, which I'm really excited about. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and my next video, is gonna be a little bit wonky about when my next video will post, but I will post another video about how like the end of week 2 goes and right before surgery and kind of how I'm feeling. There may not be this big fancy light and I may be a little bit in the dark and hiding in a hotel room bathroom, but but I will videotape and do something and talk about that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I'll talk about next, and it might be next week. I might do a video in between. Who knows? We'll see how I'm feeling. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you want to follow my journey, and I'll see you later, and take care.